a garage. And we're going to try to do something productive here. Well, we were productive this morning. And let's clean up this airbrush area from the last time I was out here. Grab another wire. It is hot as balls out here. Very, very hot. Very, very moist. I would normally be at work at this time, but they shut down the plant, even though it's not windy here. So let's airbrush some stuff. And what we're going to plan on doing is a bunch of T-34s and King Tiger. So let's take all these things that we left here. Didn't make it in here with them. A couple of SDKFZ 222s. Little turrets here. We're going to need these little alligator clips. We'll have to use them for something else. I don't want these to hit the ground, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in here. I'm not a fan of Dragon model stuff. It's a little too flimsy. Yes, it's realistic in size, but, you know, things get ham-fisted. And we got a couple of Malteers here. I don't know if we're going to make it to that, but I came out here to, bought a generator about it. Well, the last time we had a storm coming out here, and I wanted to test run it. It's faulty. It leaks fuel, so that's not good. It leaks fuel before you even turn it on, so I never turned it on. It's like, that's going back. So hopefully we don't lose power. The storm's not going over us. It's going off to the side. We should be okay. We didn't lose power last time, but we'll just kind of roll with the punches. We're going to need a place to put these T-34s. All this stuff is moved out of place because we're going to bring the, it's not windy enough for the cars to come in. So I want to do this before the cars, we got to put the cars in the garage. So we probably get 50, 60 mile an hour gusts maybe. I don't think any more than that. So we should be all right. I don't have any crazy neighbors that don't take down their stuff. I did it at the other house. I had a guy that had a tree service. And just before one of the storms, he went and he stacked up like this big bundle of sticks at his house right across the street from ours. I'm like, that's the wrong fucking time to do that, pal, man. That stuff goes flying and it's on you. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to seal these two T-34 model 1940s that we painted. They're not sealed. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to primer everything else that we have out here with black. That's the first thing we're going to do. So that all involves using an airbrush with a 0.5 needle. So we'll grab the 0.5 needle. I think it's this one. Yep. If not, it'd still work with the other one. And load it up. Make sure it's clear. Should be. We're going to use nothing but thick stuff. And I was getting issues with the bubbles coming in here. And you could watch all the YouTube programs in the world and they'll give you a clue. You got to solve things by yourself. And if you're having issues with the airbrush, and this is airbrush trips for dumbasses like me, from a dumbass. Tighten the wrench. I know you can tighten it enough. That made a difference. It's like, I don't have any issues now. So stop being lazy. I'm guilty of it. And tighten it up. All right. We want to make sure this is connected because otherwise it's kind of a waste. You're never going to get to the airbrush if it's not connected. I don't really like where that container is. I may have to move it. Like being encroached by inanimate objects. All right, let's crank this thing up. think text is on. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I can change the chat options here. Oh, live chat, I can. Okay. Whew. How's everybody doing today? It's supposed to be a convention tomorrow I'm supposed to go to. I don't know if I'm going to make it to it. I'm really not worried about it. I wasn't excited to play anything. You know, it's kind of nice. Oh, this week would have been hell. All right, make all the DVA awards, do all this stuff, and then, you know, oh, the storm comes and like 3 people show up. One of the biggest reasons I don't do DVA anymore. Lack of interest. And it was holding me back from doing things I really wanted to do, which I didn't have time to do both, so all good stuff. Okay, we good? Now what's the pressure at? About where I want it, about 45. Because we're going to use thick stuff. Okay. And let's run some airbrush cleaner in through here. Homemade airbrush cleaner. So, if you have an airbrush, don't fall for one of those tricks and buy a $30 thing to blow liquid into. Just get you a jug. It could be a milk container or what have you. And then leave the top of it open, and then it'll just evaporate. It's not like it's a food item or something. It's got Windex in there, man. It's like clean. Cleanish. Non-potable. All right, let's go put our Wonder Glove on. I think we've used this one before. Just makes it a little easier to wash your hands. Although the last couple times I've used this, man, the mess got really minimized. Instead of your hand looking like a chimney sweep. Got one person live. I don't know who it is, but somebody in a later date will probably get excited about me wearing a one rubber glove. Just like Mitch with showing his feet. It's probably the same person. You freak. All right, let's prep this. By putting this on here, man, I wasn't expecting this rubber glove to be so damn hot. It is swamp ass today. It feels like Mitch's whore hut. Let's see, this one, I don't think we need to put something on that. I think we can just hold it. All right, let's make sure this is untangled. And what we're going to use for sealing is the Yeho Premium Color Matte Varnish. I hope the video's not backwards. You have to tell me if it is. I don't think it is. I see it backwards. Let's just put a little bit in there, make sure it's going okay. And where is my test subject? Yep. All right, and I think I can hold one of these one at a time, and we'll be okay. And you hear it pop like that because this material's kind of thick. It's just the nature of it. And it'll look better after it's sealed. It always does. It's the sealing magic. I figured that was going to turn on sooner or later. Oh, need a little more? I came out here to try to test the generator in case we needed it. Mainly for just some stuff in the fridge doesn't go bad. And didn't work. 4G generator. And I'm like, I'm already sweaty, so might as well airbrush something. Might as well be out here in the swamp ass zone. Now this same needle setting is what we will use for the primer. The primer is equally thick but in a different way. And of course we're talking about Vallejo primer. Somebody's like, yeah, the AK one works great. I'm like, I mean, yeah, there's stuff I like AK for, but I like this primer because I can hand paint with it. I can hand paint figures if I need to. I can airbrush with it. I like doing both. It smells good to an extent. There's no reason to kick it to the curb just yet. It's got to misbehave before I kick something to the curb. All right. We've got 6 T34 85s from SHQ. Shaqua! I don't remember what SHQ stands for. With the green hatches. Green stuff hatches. Oh. And one of them is open. We got a tank commander that's going to be going in there. And we're going to be making these, the tow hooks, and I'll install them at a later date. But I want to get, like, we definitely want to get these primed for sure. They're going to be overall green. I don't know what I'm going to do with the King Tiger. I'm probably going to do the late war color. It's got no Zimmer on it, so this is going to be one that would have come out October 44 on, when it was new, so October 44, they were already using a different, lighter colored Dunkelgelb, so that's probably what we're going to do with that. Now, we got this stuff in here. Let's go ahead and get some airbrush cleaner and run this through, get any vestiges of this stuff out. It's a lot different with the paint. The paint can all kind of, I mean, you don't want it to blend with each other, but it's all kind of compatible. It's not compatible when you're using either the primer or especially the primer, or the clear coat at the end. They're just a different consistency. The clear coat is almost like honey-like. And as a matter of fact, the buildup on it, it almost like gets crumbly to a degree. Thank you. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to, so we don't have a disaster, not that this has ever happened before, I'm going to take this and the T-34s, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. Okay. All right, let's clip some of these turrets. Every turret is like a different challenge. And here's another reason against white metal models. These are very, very heavy. If they hit the ground, the barrel is going to break off or worse. And you got to be really careful because they take a lot more torque holding these things down so that they don't shift on you. So if this was plastic, wouldn't be as much of a pain in the butt. Even though these feel nice in your hand, I don't think we're actually going to do that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to lay them flat. We're going to get the undersides of all of them first. And then we'll flip them over. And the one that has the turret open, we'll have to get creative with that one. We'll do that one last. We'll do that one last. Running about 40 psi, that should work for this thick stuff. I'm not going to fill it all the way in. I'm going to only go about a third, and then I have to reload this and one airbrush cleaner session in between it. That's fine. This stuff likes to gum up like nobody's business. If you get an airbrush compressor and it comes with these little things that a little stand for your airbrush, definitely put it on. It's very helpful. How did I over twist that? Here we go. Let's go to this side. Yeah, if I had hand tightened this, I'd be getting the ubiquitous bubbles that everybody gets. So use that crank down on that thing. That solved that issue for me. Like, I'm doing everything right. Why am I getting these bubbles? Well, I wasn't doing everything right. I wasn't wrenching down on it. I'm going to take these guys. I don't get any notifications, so if you do write something in there, it might take me a little while to respond to it. I'm going to go ahead and paint the underside of this one. I really don't want to hold on to this. I want to bend up that hatch. I don't want to do that either. Let's see what's. That's what we'll do. Okay, now the underside of this one's also done. Alright, so I'm going to take these. They're already flipped over. Let me do 3 and then another 3. That way I got enough space to work around them. And then if I miss a spot, this can hand brush on as well. It just doesn't work as well if you're trying to hand brush something that's a huge surface area, because as you're applying it, this stuff is really weird. It goes on really well, but as you're applying it, you end up like washing it off. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you brush it on, and as you're brushing on, it's going on, and you're taking it off other areas because it's super watery. It's great stuff, but Definitely has an interesting consistency. Oh, well, I wasn't expecting that hatch to go flying. I guess it wasn't secured very well. It's because I used super glue and not epoxy. I'll paint the inside of the hatch then. Alright, I don't want to lose this thing. Let's move it over there. In that box. I don't want to make another one. I don't want to have to make another one. Blowing air on this thing. Although I saw some videos of like real life functioning T-3045s, and the finish on the turret is abysmal. I can't. It just looks like a popcorn ceiling almost. It's really, really bad. Okay. I'm going to trade out these for these. I figured I'd do this. I don't know when I'm going to lose power if I am, but it's probably not going to get super would-be till in about 4 hours or so. Now we'll do these one at a time. We'll flip it over upside down. See if we can adjust the foot of this. Balancing this way, the foot needs to be going in the same direction. I do all my own stunts. Look at how together. Yep, it did. Wow. Probably got a dent in it too, somewhere. Okay. I should do that more often. Throw them on the ground. I know, I need a little tray with sides. Well, I don't have fucking everything. Oh, man. Shit happens. Bad day of painting is still better than a good day at work. God, it's so fucking hot. It's unbelievably hot. This won't go any more than that? Good Lord, man. The stuff I do for this hobby. Oh, really? That's when we're going around? No big deal. I'm going to run some thinner through there. I mean, after, let's wipe some of this stuff out. This stuff's really weird. It's almost rubbery. See, if I glued that with super glue, that wouldn't have held together, or if it would have hit wrong. I swear, I get super fumbly anytime I have a fucking pair of glasses, any kind of them. Because the glasses force you to focus on something, and in doing that, you just ignore everything else. So, you know, you're taking part in extreme retardation, and you don't even know it. Let's run this through, make sure we get all those goopies out. I'm not a naturally clumsy person. I played advanced squad leader with stacks like this. I didn't knock them down. Well, I didn't wear glasses either. There's always fumbles. All right. Like I've said before, sometimes my channel is how not to do things. I don't care if you find out I'm not perfect. I'm not. Want to be. Never going to happen. All right, let's. Now these models, I would say for white metal models, they're pretty precise. They're pretty good models in and of themselves. Maybe not to the degree that MMS was. And I'm only talking about 20 millimeter stuff. I'm not familiar with any of the other stuff. But they're pretty precise models. But for being pretty precise models, the fit and finish on this running gear is really bad. There's actually gaps between the transmission housing and the idler wheel. And the drive wheel, actually, as well. So that if you pay attention, you can actually see into it. Because they don't fit, they just kind of glue to the sides, and you think, oh, well, you just run some epoxy or super glue all the way around the back, but it doesn't touch it. It only touches at the front and the back, and that's it. So it's almost like it's hanging by almost a thread to a degree. So we're going to do these one at a time. But even with that, I'm surprised it held together. It must have just landed just right. All right. I'm going to take this one. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do this. I'm freaking drenched. Well, when we're done with this, we'll go take a shower. Change our underwear. Well, I understand people that shower in the mornings. Like, how could you be like this and like go to bed? I'm not calling it bed dirty. That's just nasty. It is a lot easier to get in between stuff with a brush than it is with an airbrush. Especially with this stuff, it flows really, really well. All right, now. So yeah, I want to try out the compressor, the actually compressor, no, the generator for electricity in case we lose power. Never been used before. Actually read the manual. Don't overfill with oil. It came with oil. I didn't. Even though I had to screw it and unscrew it like 6 times. I don't want to overfill it. I want to start on the right path. Fill it full of fuel, but don't overfill it. I underfilled it. And as soon as I turn the fuel to the choke, it starts dripping out of the bottom. And I haven't even started it yet. So I called my neighbor over, who is used to doing generators. I've never had one before in my life. You're a city boy? I am. I'm a suburbia boy. I'm not a New York City person either. I don't believe in people that close to each other. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And he's like dumbfounded. So it's going back. It's full of fuel now, and it's going to go back. Because I've never had a generator, but I've always had a lawnmower, and you shouldn't be dripping fuel, especially when they're not running, and they're brand new, and it's underfilled. Underfilled by probably, I don't know, 4 inches under the red line. So that factory in Ching Chang Chung, wherever it was, got some serious QC issues. Which, if it was made here, it would have some serious QC issues. I want to make sure there's no silver spots a-showing. And the problem isn't that it's made in Ching Chang Chung, because I have Chinese stuff that I bought model kits that are phenomenal. The trumpeter stuff that I've gotten is incredible. Other than being lazy fuckers and not giving me a hatch I could have open, the trumpeter models are probably the nicest models I have. They're really, really nice. Crisp. They make good stuff if they want to. So you got to go on one of those sites. From the scale I do things, 1/72 on the way. Those you can do YouTube unboxes. You can find out if you buy something if it has operable hatches. I don't need all the hatches open, but the command, an option for having the commander's hatch open is nice. Yeah, I was operating here in light that was not so good, so. Doesn't matter. If I just painted a green over it, probably wouldn't make any difference. But I saw it, so it's got to be fixed. Surprised I haven't had people say, hey, why are you priming black? Which my response would be, why don't you prime in black? I've been priming in black since probably 1994, maybe even earlier than that. Never going back. Like all my nooks and crannies in black. Still missed a spot up here. Well, we're specifically not putting this on very thick. It is self-leveling. It's a really cool material. And you know, before you say, hey, all you do is use Vallejo stuff, that's not true. I prefer airbrushing the AK paints because I don't have to thin them. There's one thing to thin when you're hand painting things. That's very natural to me. It's another thing to thin when you have to airbrush stuff. You got to use another container. Some of it gets left over there. I mean, it's just awkward. The nice thing is by the time we handle those other T-34s with the clear coat, they'll be nice and sealed. I mean, if they dry this way. I don't know. I've always worked in areas with high humidity. The humidity is pretty freaking high. I mean, it's not raining yet, but I bet the humidity is probably over 70%. And I've never had a problem with things sticking. The only problem I've ever encountered with painting, I've never had a problem with frosting, even with sealing, even with an aerosol can. The only issue I had with painting is if you prime with an enamel spray can black, and then you paint over it, and then you know, with acrylics, and then you seal with either a lacquer or an enamel clear coat, which is what I normally do, or that's what I used to normally do. If the acrylic isn't thick enough, and I paint pretty thin, the top layer can get into the bottom layer, and they can react with each other and cause some stuff that looks bad. But since that isn't an issue anymore, because I don't use any enamel products, it's not a problem. And it's not the end of the world, but it is annoying, kind of, you know, going through all these steps and trying to do a good job and, you know, getting back. So I'm always going to prime black. I'm never going to airbrush it enamel. Just not interested in it. The whole reason I got this was just so I wouldn't have any fumes. It was like fumeless. Got wind supposedly blowing it this way. It's on high. This is zero smell. It's a really huge room. I was gonna do this with the garage open, but I don't want mosquitoes and stuff getting in here. They're out. They're out in force. I know they're gonna get blown away soon, so. Airbrushing, you know, I can give people tips on what works for me, but I'm not an airbrush guy. You know, but just like anything else, you just have to experiment. You gotta find out what works for you. But I don't thin any of my paints. I just change what paint I use. I mean, unless I have to use Vallejo. I'd rather just find an AK paint and just use it straight from the bottle. But you need to adjust your needle. That's one thing nobody tells you. Oh, you gotta thin your paints, you gotta do this, but yeah, some stuff you gotta use with a .35 needle. Some stuff you can use with a .35 needle, which is what my airbrush came with, and sometimes you gotta go to a bigger needle. You need a bigger gap to allow these thicker mixes to go through. Because in my opinion, you can do whatever you want. This primer is not meant to be thin. Oh, you're supposed to use Viejo thinner. Use Viejo thinner for the Viejo paint. This is not Viejo paint. It's a primer. And you can tell that by, if you ever get this on your hands, the Viejo paint's easy to get off. This is difficult to get off. Very difficult to get off. Hand sanitizer is still relevant, but it's just a different consistency. This does not react well with water. You know, you can do whatever you want. I think you need to experiment and see what works for you. But one of the problems with doing stuff like this is having these expectations that, you know, oh, it's going to go great as soon as I get an airbrush. And it is an uphill battle from hell. And I would call myself a very experienced, detail-oriented painter. So if I struggle with some of this stuff, I know there's some people that are just probably threw the airbrush out the window. What if it was in a basement with no windows? They would, wherever it is. And that's the worst thing you could do, is get demoralized. Because if you get demoralized, guess what happens? You don't do anything, and then you're pissed off about it, and then you got to turn into an alcoholic like everybody else that doesn't have that has a stressful life, that doesn't have a relaxing hobby like this. Oh, you guys just aren't going to type anything today. That's all right. I'll just keep rambling. One of you guys will say something when I come up with something outlandish. I got a buddy of mine. I got several people on Facebook. I like Facebook a lot for the hobby, okay? And I don't get baited into conversations. I don't really put controversial stuff out there. And I got a couple people that do put questionably controversial stuff on there. And I'm really surprised at 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 people. They have a host of people that follow them around and naysay everything they post. And I'm like, if you guys did that to me, I'd unfriend your ass. I mean, I don't go to people's pages and put controversial stuff on there to pick a fight. So if I'm minding my own business and you take a shit in my doorstep, I'm gonna rub your face in it. You know, my way of rubbing your face in it is just unfriending you. Sorry. We don't have to be Facebook friends. I put it on there to keep us all part of the wargaming miniatures community, not to get in arguments about stuff. Some people are just like waiting to die on a fucking hill. They'll build a hill out of their own shit just so they can die on it. Like, whatever. I don't care about people's politics. I really don't. And this one guy that I know just keeps putting up with like 3 or 4. Every time he puts something, he puts something fringish, and he's got, I'd say half of his friends are waiting to naysay everything he says. I'm like, I wouldn't have that negativity around me. I got to deal with negativity at work when I'm getting paid, and I still don't like it. But I've talked to him and he says, oh, I like to argue. I'm like, have fun. I don't like to fight battles that you can't win. So if I can't win, I'm not going to fight it. I don't do much online gaming, but when I do, it's been years since I take all the chat off. I don't want to listen to other people. If I don't know them, I don't listen to them. You play some mature game, and there's an 8-year-old that's 4 foot tall with a 6 foot mouth. I don't want to listen to that shit. I don't want to game with people that are negative all the time. That's why I game in here. If you're a dickhead, I won't tell you where I live. You can't find me. Meet over at the interstate, and we'll put bags over your head, and you come in here, and we'll put ball gags in bags, and you'll appear here, and all of a sudden I'll have a game set up. You know, and if it doesn't go well, then you won't come next time. I don't know how other people put up with it. You know, if I go to the show tomorrow, I don't know that I'm raring for a fight, but I'm ready to find somebody cheating and call them out on it, or somebody stinky. Like, dude, have you ever bathed? I don't care. We'll stand up to these people that have never stood up. Nobody's ever stood up to them before because they might hurt their feelings. I'd rather pick fights in person. The keyboard commandos. Got too much free fucking time on me. You wanna type that much, man? Go get your bar. Not that we need any more lawyers in this world, but I'm just saying that go do something useful, man. Go get that degree that you didn't get. I'm not interested in writing a bunch of shit. I don't know if it's even doing anybody any good. At least with this video, I can tell how many people clicked on it. You might have only clicked on it and watched it for 30 seconds, but at least somebody was alive when I was doing it, you know? Like when they used to have, and I don't know why they stopped doing it, but you could thumb down stuff, right? People would you'd make a video and somebody gives you a thumbs down, but they don't tell you why. Well, I don't like this. Why? Because you didn't do it? You know? That's been, what, 4 or 5 years? 6 years maybe? You know, you put out a video, 701 likes, and one guy didn't like it. Well, what's his problem? You jealous, just having a bad day, a natural dickhead, I don't know, a troll. A competing rule set. I don't know what motivates people. But it's hard enough finding people that do the hobby that we do. Well, the problem with having models that have a lot of detail is they have a lot of nooks and crannies that you have to hit them from a bunch of different angles. It's still not windy out there. And we're not in the direct path, thankfully. But that storm is, width-wise, it's one of the biggest ones I've seen, and it's still getting bigger. halfway done. I guess you guys are enjoying paint dry. Watching paint dry. Once you're out of this, we'll give it another rinse again. That seems to be the trick. Helps. I think one thing that helps is scooping this stuff out, not just pouring that stuff in. We need to get this stuff out so we can rinse it and blow the rest of the stuff out. But these like solid kind of chunks of this paint, I want to get those in. They're not gonna flow through there because it creates almost like a skim coat, almost like the cheese on French onion soup, right? It just dries. Some parts of it just kind of dry. In Spanish, we would call it natilla. If we put like cream and hot coffee, cover on, it'd be on the outside. That's kind of what it forms, and you're gonna have a hard time pushing that through here. So might as well just pull that stuff out, and that's what I've been doing the last couple times with this primer, and it's been going a lot better. And tighten the end of this with a brush, with a wrench. So I woke up this morning before my alarm at 5 a.m. I had to check on some stuff that was happening today. Make sure the weather was okay for me to do it. I tried to go to sleep, I couldn't. So I got off an early start, earlier than I was expecting to start. And one of the first things I do is I try to go see, I go on Facebook and see if anybody's posted different things or what have you. And one of the groups there's several groups I subscribe to, mainly because of the photos that they have. A lot of photos of World War II stuff, tanks, ships, that kind of stuff. Military, or I don't know what the hell they're called. But there's a whole lot of people on there that are either really don't know what the hell they're talking, but definitely don't know what the hell they're talking about, or they're putting controversial stuff up there just to get likes or dislikes or reactions from people. So there'll be like a picture that was like obviously a king tiger this morning, and then the first post was somebody put panther. Like anybody who knows anything about World War II would not confuse a panther with a king tiger. I mean, it was obvious. It was a pre-production, didn't say Porsche turret, pre-production turret king tiger. And panther. And then of course that's, got, 12 people to give them the laugh icon, and then 16 or 17 people correcting them. And the person that posted it doesn't say, oops, sorry, or you never hear from them again. It's like they throw a grenade and they don't sit around and wait for the explosion. And I don't understand what the logic is, other than I don't think stupid people should be allowed to post things. There's lots of stuff I don't know about. I don't go on there and post, you don't see me on like a science website or something like that. Or, Algebra 2. Is there a Facebook group for people that like Algebra 2? I should go on there and see if I'm friends with any of them and then unfriend them. I hate Algebra 2. God, I hate Algebra 2. I love algebra, not Algebra 2. Quadratic formula, be damned. But anyways, there's a lot of, what's the point in being the first one in and saying something that's completely wrong? I don't understand the logic is. I mean, you're using a name, so now they know, well, this Sally Gardner or whoever it is, or whatever their person's, I don't know what the person's name was. Like, okay, he's just some dumb bitch, you know, or whatever the guy is, you know, Tom, whatever. That's what you're known as, is the dumbass that freaking doesn't know what the fuck a panther is. And like that, it's all the time. You know, I saw, there was one guy, it was like a picture of the Tirpitz in a fjord, Battleship Tirpitz in a fjord. And they made some kind of comment. Isn't that the one that blew up at Battle of Jutland, or just something like super ignorant? And just, it creates all these reactions to it. And the person never comes back saying, oh, okay, thanks. Just like, I swear they're just doing it on purpose, just to get a rise out of people. I mean, that's, you need a hobby, man. I don't comment on those things. I'm like, if that person is that stupid, they don't need to be on this page. There's a whole lot of that goes on. A whole lot of that goes on. All the time. It's exhausting. That's another major contributing factor why I don't do DBA videos anymore. Because no matter what I did, I mean, I'm going to make mistakes. No matter what I did, there was always somebody who just read the rules and didn't fucking play the game that throws these grenades of, oh, I thought that this was that. And then it sends everybody else into like, oh, well, I never thought about it that way. And I'm like, okay, I just wasted my fucking time making this video, and now I have to get all these lemmings off the cliff again. It's like, it's not fucking worth it. I don't want bad information to be out there. Because the next thing you know, you have to undo that stuff when you're playing in a tournament. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that shit anymore. Yeah. By these people that have never played a game. Oh, I just collect rules. And on that same thread, they'll never come back and say, oh, sorry, I had it wrong. So that somebody that reads it doesn't get sent off a cliff. I just got tired of it. So that's another reason why I don't play Gaslands. Because Gaslands has all kinds of loopholes in it, like DBA, where people can take it the wrong way. I just want to play a game and have fun. I don't want to sit there and argue about stuff. Like, well, you can just play however you want. Well, yeah, but I want to share my experience with other people. Sorry. Oh, this is going to have to get a super clean on this one. I'm going to take the needle out. Again, number one thing you're airbrushing is don't make any fucking plans. Don't be like, oh, I'll have this done in an hour. They won't. Something will happen and you won't be able to do it. Keep an open mind. Only bad stuff about this is it's semi-gloss. Which means sometimes it's kind of hard to see whether or not you've actually missed a spot. slippery motherfucker. I guess that's actually, I need to get something that has sides. Actually, I don't mind these getting beat up. They're more true to, more true to form. Completely still out there. Well, I still stand by what I said. I'm one of those people. Like, you better watch your words, or no. I just say, this place in Florida, we normally do not get hurricanes that come here. I mean, by the time they get here, they've dissipated. We're inland enough. I mean, it takes us long enough to go to the beach. And every time I see pictures of stuff like this, I'm like, that's why we don't live at the beach. You got places down the coast that don't even have any winds, and their streets are flooded with 10 feet of water, and all the other stuff that's in the water. The water's, a problem in and of itself, but, can't be just like, just wade through the water. I mean, there's freaking sticks and needles and, there's sharp objects in there. You don't want to wade through a bunch of sharp objects, regardless of what those sharp objects are. You can't see, it's murky. So every time I see it, it's like, yep, that's why we don't live at the beach. Well, can't afford it either. I mean, if they gave you the house, it'd be like, dude, that's more than my mortgage, the taxes. It's beautiful, though. And there's places where the coastline just changes so much, due to the sand shifting and stuff like that. You'll have there's just one place that we used to go to over on the east coast of Florida, and we park the cars, take the kids there. It's kind of a cool area, but every time you go there, the coastline is completely different. Due to dredging or the flow, and it's like, man, that's too many variables on the home front. Well, one thing is it hasn't gotten any hotter. That would be hard to beat. Now this actually takes longer than painting the green. Because the green, if you miss a spot, you don't have to. You don't have to worry about it because you primed in black. And the spots you missed are some little crevice that you don't want to be green in the first place. Last one. Unlikely for there to be a morning show tomorrow. Because I'll either be on my way to the convention or we lost power. If things get really inconvenient here, I'm probably not going to go. I don't want to leave the wife here just, hey, enjoy no air conditioning. I'm going to go gaming. You don't have to tell me that. It's just not cool, man. Don't do that to your teammate. Man, I'm not that excited to go to begin with. I had a hard time deciding what I was going to play. We're supposed to make a family weekend out of it, staying at a resort. That wasn't going to work. All the variables, like, let's cancel what we can. only going to do the convention. I was only going to go to the convention half day each day, and not at all on Sunday. I guess there's a lot of people that go to the show now on Thursday. Hey, this would have been the one time I could have gone on Thursday because the plant's closed. Yeah, I'm taking another vacation day. But it seems like a lot of people were starting on Thursday, even though it's technically not the day of the convention, and leaving Saturday night. So. The last show, I wasn't working down after 9:30. I just went to bed, so I didn't end up playing anything in night sessions. It's better than staying there till freaking midnight and have to clean everything out and put everything in the car and re-rush, and it's much better this way. Okay, so we're done with the T3485s. So while those guys are drying, well, we got drying, let's get the King Tiger out and prime it. I drink a lot anyways. I drink a lot of fluids anyways, and when it's this hot, even more reason to. Let's see how I can if I can grab this and do the barrel. I think I can. I may paint this today. I may paint this in this session. I just don't know what design I'm going to do. I got half of mine do that octopus. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Octopus design that was used, might have been used on other tanks as well, but I've seen decals or instructions to do the King Tiger that way. It's almost kind of like a variation on the ambush pattern. Let's do the other side of this. Don't have to paint the road wheels on this. They're all steel, baby. I really don't want to wash it. I don't want to clean this out when I'm about to switch colors shortly. So let's see if we can get away with just putting a little bit of the stuff. And hope for the best that that'll be good enough. know this is an old model, man. This is so much better than the Pegasus one. And these toe cables that are on there make it look like something's not missing. Let me change my position here. Let's see if we can make sure we don't miss anything. It's kind of hard to tell without being so damn glossy. Anything else need touch-ups? We have some live paint here. Let's close this up before we have a spillage. Spillage in the village. Oh, that's good. That's also good. Also good. Just a little bit here. The more precise you are with this, the more imprecise you can be with the next color. Because like I said, if just the black is showing, it's not a problem. Glare is the end. One of these will be a flamethrower T-3045. An OT 3045. Where's the King Tiger Toe? She's down here. Okay, I think we're golden, so we can go ahead and I'm not going to do the Maltier trucks. We're not going to do those right now. Let's go ahead and get rid of the rest of this, which shouldn't be much as I run out. Perfect. Let's scoop that out. That scooping is definitely helping. Let's find another clean spot of this. So 6 T34 85s and a King Tiger. Took over an hour just to prime them. It takes a while. You know, don't make any plans. Yeah, so this looks like little cobwebs, rubbery cobwebs. Now, after we've got that stuff out, now we'll run this through it. Get the rest of this stuff out. Airbrushing with an idiot. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do a couple things. Let's take the wrench and we're going to undo this. And we're going to back this just a minimum to clear it. Now, this should be plenty clean. It is. The advantage of having a window behind my work area. This should be also clean. And now we'll pull the needle out the front. And there's going to be some black in here that I'm going to want to take care of. Or whatever color. It just happens to be, I'm spraying black, so it's black. Okay. And we'll run a little bit of hand sanitizer over that. And that's how we'll store it. Okay? So now I'm going to take the other needle, which is the .35 needle, the one this one comes with, and load it in. Retract it all the way back. Put the cap. We're going to use AK paints for this. And I can use the smaller needle. I don't want to put a huge volume of paint down. And this is tight, but if you don't want air bubbles, tighten it. And then we'll push this out to the outside. We're going to make sure everything's operating correctly with a little bit of this juice. Something that is unblemished. Yeah, this corner will be okay. Let's make sure that we're blowing clear. All right, now we're running about 40 psi. We do not want to do that. The only reason we're that high is because this paint was thick. We're back to normal paint. So you want to dial it down to where you think you want it, and then run the air, and then make sure it bounces back to that number. Again, I don't think that there's people that freaking tell you that. I want to be around 20. Maybe even 18 is okay too. I don't give away. I don't mind giving away the shit that I figured out. If you're listening, you might as well get some interesting information. You might as well get some good information. All right, the T34s have been, speaking of T34s, let's see how these ones are drying. Are they dry now? I think so. You go ahead and pull the body cavity search gloves off. And let's take these two turrets and install them on these two tanks. Hold on 1 second, folks. All right. What the hell was I? Okay. Let's see how this. This is going to look as good as it's going to look. Well, other than you can't freaking see it because of the resolution on it. Let's see. Well, we'll take photos of it. I can't do that right now because we're using the phone as a camera. But there's no glare on it now. It looked pretty good to me. Let's not put them there. That's precarious. Okay. Now let's put the body cavity search gloves on again. I don't know why I'm showing you this. You guys are just a bunch of bots. Making sure I don't use any. Make sure I don't show a crooked spider or something on here. The crooked spider police. These gloves would be a lot easier to put on if I didn't have so many fingers. Huh? Still not ready. We're going to do this, and then we're going to stop because we need to move the cars in here. But I don't know what time it's going to get gusty. We don't want shit flying out there and hitting the car and go a little scrape on it or something like that. Okay. So we're going to start with the T34s first. We're down to 20 psi. We've got a functioning airbrush. We're going to use Soviet camouflages. Okay, and we're going to use Russian green 4BO. That's kind of the pre-war one. The late war one. There's some other colors, but they're basically like pre-war type of stuff. Really, really beautiful. So, 4BO, and of course it's going to vary a little bit because we're going to get this. This is going to end up having a wash on it. This stuff is super, 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 super watery. Super watery. It is no fun to hand paint this stuff. However, I don't feel like you don't need to thin it. And I could have used a 0.5 needle with this stuff as well. It's just going to spit out a lot of paint. And which means it's going to be really heavy in certain places. You know, it's going to be like, you're trying to water a plant with a fireman's hose. It's a bit too much. It can be done, it's just going to be messy. So let's make sure everything's going right. 1, 2, 3. Let's fill it about a third. are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Let's make sure the paint's flowing, okay? It is, okay? And just pull it out. And I don't try to do any of that fancy Zenithal shit. I do my own kind of method, so to speak. It has some similar type of effects. But these are going to be cool. It's not going to just be like, you painted them green and you're done. Nope. No, we're not doing that. You got to make all vehicles look cool. Nobody's going to want to play it. I don't want to play the Germans. Why? Because the Germans are the only ones that look cool. I don't know. Not in my house. Going to have all kinds of cool looking vehicles. Now, I'm going to actually lay down the paint a little bit thicker in some areas that would normally be highlighted. Like not the road wheels. Just places that are going to be shining at the top. Okay? That's good enough for me. I'm going to take that, lay it off to the side. Let's do all the holes, and then we'll do all the turrets. How about that? I'm not worried about spray painting it from the bottom side. I'm not worried about it when I do it. It's going to be so damn dirty down there, it's not going to make a difference. All right, same thing with the next one. See, that was a lot quicker than painting it black. Now we're still going to need to put toe hooks and stuff on here. But I got the main color on. This is going to take several days to get all the toe hooks done. The way we're doing them. But hey, I didn't lose them. It's either that or you don't build tanks at all. That just seems pretty shitty. At least half of what I put in there. Stuff goes a long way. Putting it on there pretty light. So we're going to do, this is the main color. I know it's darker than it should be. It's just for the wash to grab. The wash, this is enough for the wash to get a purchase on it. Tint it a little brown. Then we'll come in with the same color. Hand paint. The rest will be hand painted. Until we go to sealing it. We're not going to seal with hand. We're going to seal with airbrush. And then we'll dry brush the same color on top of it after it's got the brown wash. I'm wondering if you guys even have the rights to comment on this. I've been on here an hour and a half, and not a single comment. Bots don't comment. Doesn't matter. I'm getting this. I'm doing this whether or not I'm filming it. Might as well film it. Maybe it'll do somebody some good. It'll provide some kind of much needed entertainment for somebody. Maybe you're just waiting for the hurricane to come. It's going to be a long time coming if it's coming. We'll get some wind, but it's still not going to be for a little bit. You can see I only filled this up a third of the way, and I've already done 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th tank. So it goes a long way. I'm not trying to be frugal, it just kind of happens. And I haven't thinned it, we haven't had a jam up session, I've got really low pressure, and I've got the small needle on. So this paint is, I think, excellent for airbrushing. I think a lot less of it if you're hand painting. The instructions say, oh, for hand painting or airbrushing, it's not worth a shit hand painting. When I dry brush this, I'm kind of like, get a lot of this moisture out of this so it'll stick. But it's a dream airbrush. You know, and I've been doing this, how long have I been doing this? An hour and a half? I only have a few tanks here. You know, I don't want to stop and have to thin the paint if I can avoid not doing that. And all of these will be different. I got some packs coming. We're going to have different gear on the outside of them. I'm going to give these things personality. This is a decent tank. You know? It's a decent tank. Should be able to knock out just about everything at close range. The only difference is you got to worry about what's the blood alcohol content in the brew. What do you mean by that? I don't know. What do you think it means? We're officially out. Okay? So I'd like a little bit more for this, and then we have all the turrets to do. So based on how much I put in the first one, I'm going to probably use half of that. And see how it goes. We have to refill it. Now this time I don't have to clean in between. We should be okay to do that. Now, this gets tricky-ish. If these were plastic, I'd hold them by the end of the barrel, and that serves the dual purpose of you leave this like basically black where it would normally be smoldering from the barrel anyways. But because this is a natural weak point here that I use super glue on, so it's very brittle, I don't really want to grab them that way. So I think what we're going to do is, and this one has a hatch sticking up. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to, let's flip them all upside down. And we'll airbrush as much as we can. Let's just do 3 at a time. Let's not get carried away. One of these is missing a hatch because it fell off because I used super glue. I'm not going to worry about that right now. To the backs. This one we'll have to do separately. I don't want it laying on that hatch and pop it off. What time is it anyways? 5. We have another hurricane up there at 6. Oh, we're out. We don't need a whole lot. I don't think I'm going to airbrush the King Tiger. So if you guys are waiting for the King Tiger, I don't think I'm going to do that. I want to put I want to put more thought into what I want it to look like. I want it to look different than the other two. And it's easy to make a King Tiger look cool. It's a King Tiger. Probably the biggest problem that I have with this is the loader's hatch in the roof. That his hatch doesn't open. That's not the problem. The problem is it's very faint in between the crack in it. So we're going to need to make that pop a little bit more by using probably some black lining. Okay, let's... How did we do this last time? Well, we did it on a tank that hadn't been painted yet. And unfortunately I painted one of these. Let's just do this and hope for the best. Just need to get the underside part. We're using really low PSI. We're not spitting out a lot of paint here. Did this run out? Wow. Okay, put like 3 dots. 4. I'll splurge. Woohoo! That's all we're going to do. Okay? We're going to take this, we're going to get rid of this hole or something goes sideways. Flip this all the way back over. Okay, and now we have 6T34 85s painted with turrets. Nothing fancy, nothing fancy yet. I know I'm not doing one with a bed spring armor. That looks silly, and hell, buying that stuff probably costs more than the tank for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to do the King Tiger today. I want to be sure that I want to do the late war Dunkelgelb pattern. Let's do what we're supposed to and put all our stuff away. Let's take the 4BO back. Put it in these. It's, some beautiful boxes these things come in. Slide it back in. Man, it's hot. Okay. Make sure all vestiges. Now this one, I'm still going to try to scoop what's in there out. I think that's helped me be more successful and not have as many jam sessions. Like if you got to get the stuff out of here and it can come out of the top, have it come out of the top. And we'll shut down this popsicle stand. We need to bring the cards in. I want to take a shower, but I don't want to do all that stuff. I gotta do some outside stuff before I go in and do that. All right, let's unscrew this. Pull this in a little bit so we don't clip this on the way in. Unscrew. I thought I did. I unscrewed it. Didn't have a single bubble issues. A single time that I did that. I want to say that's not happened before, but it hasn't happened since I used the wrench on it. So wrench your stuff down. It makes a difference. Yes, you can hand tighten it, but then you got bubble issues. So you got dirty this guy. Not very. Set that where it goes. Okay. That goes off. And I usually unplug this thing. There's no point in this being under this kind of pressure. And we just put that there. It's ready to go for the next time we do it. That's it. That's how it's done. Zero issues. So, anyhow, I wish I could have done the camouflage. I want to look at the I want to look into the what exactly I want to do with the King Tiger, because I have two other ones and I want it to look different. Maybe I'll use primer red as a base. Maybe I'll leave that for the Yag Tiger because I really like the way that one looks. Makes it look kind of unique. I'm gonna let these guys sit out here at least for a couple hours, maybe even overnight before we give them a wash. Because that wash tends to like to lift the paint up a little bit, especially if it's thin. And I don't go super thick with this stuff. So, all right, folks, that's it for today. And we'll see you guys on the next one. I'll be on tomorrow if I decide not to go to the show, but I wouldn't bank on it. And we'll see you guys soon with some more painting stuff. Okay, folks, thanks for coming by. See ya.